Hello, I'm behind the scenes at the Albany Theatre in Deptford, where we have been creating an indoor volcano effect using some stage pyrotechnics and special effects. It's all part of Smashfest UK 2017. Before we go anywhere near bringing pyrotechnics into a venue, we look at the technical specification. That gives us all the key information: how high the ceiling is, how big the stage is, what it's made of. Once that's done, we can draw up a list of pyrotechnics that are safe to use in the venue, and this works in with the creative design. And we then draw up a risk assessment, which is pretty much a checklist for everyone working on the show of what needs to happen in order to make the show safe. And then it's on to building any bits of scenery, masking or frames for the effects, especially if we don't want the audience to see all the pyro and spoil the surprise. And all of that has to be flame-proofed. We've got hot pyrotechnics right next to wood. We don't want the wood to catch fire, so we treat it with a flame retardant. My office, basically. This is where we're doing our rigging, so in we go. And introduce you to Tommy here in the background. Give us away, Tommy. Tommy's rigging with me today because it's quite technically interesting rig that we're working on today. We've got things that are being fired from different locations in the theatre space, where we've got a balcony in there, and we've got the main body of our volcano, and we're rigging it here on these brackets here. I've just kicked something out. I don't quite know what that was. But these brackets here, as Tommy's just making some modifications, and what we need to do is make sure that the pyrotechnics and all the effects that we're using are nice and stable. They don't wobble, they don't fall over, because some of the effects we're using are quite powerful, and they're going to create blast waves and bangs, the kinds of things you're going to hear. And of course, when you create a bang, you have a lot of pressure and a lot of force, so it's really important that all the pyrotechnics that we have are secured, because we don't want anything to fall over. So that's the pyro. Now we're back in the scene dock because I want to show you how we create the ground-hugging fog, and we're using in today's show as part of a pyroclastic flow simulation indoors. You find all sorts in scenery docks, like bits of old coat hanger and things, but put that to one side. We're cooling our fog. We need the fog to be really, really cold to hug the ground. If you think about hot air rises, cool air will sink to the bottom of a space because it's denser. So we need to cool our fog down to make sure it hits the ground and stays low. We don't want it to spill everywhere. So we're using something very special. I'm very excited by it because it is liquid carbon dioxide. We don't very often get liquid carbon dioxide. It has to be under really high pressure. If we cool carbon dioxide down at normal atmospheric pressure, it becomes a solid. We call it dry ice. And that's really useful in special effects. But here, we've got our cylinder under pressure. Here it is. So coming close, we'll show you. We're drawing off liquid carbon dioxide. That's then being piped through into this. This is our fog machine, our smoke machine. And the liquid is expanding. Now, when it expands, it cools down very, very cold. So it's like a really, really super duper freezer unit in here. And then we've got our normal smoke machine inside, and the smoke machine works by heating up a glycol-based oil. That creates a vapour. That vapour is then piped through our freezer compartment, where we've got our liquid CO2 that's been expanded into a gas. It's got very, very cold, and it then comes out to this pipe. But because it's very cold, wherever we duct this pipe, our fog will then stay low, and that's what we're doing. So we're going to do a test. We've got our pipe that's coming outside because at the moment we haven't isolated the smoke alarms in here, and there's a show going on in there, and I think the last thing they want is for me to evacuate through a smoke alarm going off. So my duct is out there. We're going to run it. Fingers crossed it's going to work. Switch the CO2 on. Now we'll try the smoke. It's literally cool, isn't it? It's working. So that's how we get the ground hugging fog. Cool it down using liquid carbon dioxide expanding. Amazing. So our pyrotechnics are installed on their pods on the flight case for quick rigging. And you'll note the foil here. That is to protect the wood from some very hot pyrotechnic effects.
finally we can move the pyrotechnics into position. So whilst a man does some funny tricks with a yo-yo, we wheel the case out into position, apply the brakes, do our final safety checks, arm the system, and we're ready to fire.
Before I go, I must say a big thank you and congratulations to the festival organisers, Lindsay and the team. You did an amazing job at Smashfest. And also a shout out to Aardvark Special Effects and Skyburst, the firework company, two companies, both of whom have supported me in slightly different ways behind the scenes to make my work possible. Thank you guys, I really appreciate it. And thank you to you for watching. See you next time. Go!